Hello, everybody, and we are on to book numero 6. And this one is one that I'm probably going to have the most questions about because the movie, obviously, the filmmakers read the book and thought, we only need these 10 pages and left everything else out. Um, you'll get my thoughts on the movie because I'm not a fan. Not a fan. We're just going to say not a fan. Um, it doesn't explain anything to the point that when Snape rocks up at the end and he's like, "I am the Half-Blood Prince." I was sat there like,
Why?
"The fuck does that mean?
It's like,
What does that mean?"
yeah, which is because in the, I guess we're jumping straight into it, but in the book, that's presented as like one of the central mysteries. Harry finds this potion book and it says the property of the Half-Blood Prince, and the whole thing is like, oh, who's this Half-Blood Prince? Like, who is it? And they spend a good chunk of the book trying to work out who he is. Only for in the movie, it's like it's mentioned a couple of times, and then right at the end, Snape's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the Half-Blood Prince." Like,
Yeah, and so the movie is there's a lot of nothing, and it's a lot of walking around, wasting time, and I mean, I'll jump into this as well. Fred and George have this magic, essentially date rape spell, and they cast it on Ron, but it's funny because he's a guy. So Ron falls in love against his consent, but he's a guy, so it's funny.
Hmm.
On the surface, it is a date rape thing, and in the book, like we've established before, they have a whole store selling this stuff. So the only other thing, again, because I don't know much about the book, we're going back to my boy
Here we go.
Draco.
Here we fucking
Uh,
go again.
yeah, well, each book, I was really annoyed when I got to this movie because surely, if we did my idea that I've established in the previous episodes, we now get to this one, and a good chunk of the movie is Harry and his friends wondering if Draco is a Death Eater. Now, that would have tied in perfectly with my idea, and then, as the movie progresses, he's torn. Like I think there's a scene in the movie where, or maybe that's the seventh one where Lucius, they're like on different sides, and Lucius says, "Draco over here."
no, that's in
And he,
the last one. That's in Deathly Hallows Part Two.
oh, okay. Well, like you could have eased into him. He's still being conflicted between what's right and then listening to his racist father with beautiful hair. I don't know. I think the redemption would have worked really well in this one.
I mean, the slight problem with it in the book is that in the book, so in the movie, there's a lot of scenes where you see Draco trying to get the what's it called? What the
Vanishing cabinet.
vanishing cabinet? Thank you. He's trying to get that to work, and it's not working, and he's getting frustrated. And you see like the scene of him crying in the bathroom. In the book, pretty much all of Draco's stuff happens off screen, where you see him with Dumbledore, and he reveals essentially his entire plan, like he's a Bond villain. It's like, so, Mr. Dumbledore, I expect you to die.
If I had two words to describe the Half-Blood Prince book, fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, this is the best book. Like, we don't need to
It
be.
is the best book. This okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. This is one of my favorite books of all time.
Oh,
Sorry, just because you mentioned Dumbledore, and I'm still going to mention my boyfriend Draco, but like it also ties into it because he refuses to kill Dumbledore. So redemption, like the movies try to do it because he also refuses to kill Harry in the last one. It's there for whatever reason. J.K. Rowling, it's like she half wrote an arc. It's like she wrote it and then just didn't rub it out. She wrote it and she was like, "Nah, I don't think I'm going to do anything with that." Hey Joe, shouldn't we delete these passages then? And then she just wrote a completely different direction. I just think she made it up as she went along.
Yeah.
more than likely
No,
did.
no, but this is one of my favorite books of all time. It has been for several years.
Mm,
And this isn't even me giving Rowling credit. I just think I just love this book so much.
mm.
This book is
So
fucking
so
amazing.
you condone Fred and George's date rape spell.
That I do not. That I do not condone. And we'll get into more of that later with Voldemort's backstory. Because Voldemort's
Yeah, remember?
backstory.
Yeah,
Oh
Voldemort.
God, I
Voldemort
forgot
had a
about that.
backstory. Remember this?
Yeah. Remember Voldemort? He has a story. He has a character.
Go on, Adalynn. How was Voldemort conceived?
Love potion.
So his mother raped his father.
Okay. Let's go over you. Why don't we just go ahead and just delve into Voldemort's backstory? So in the book, there's so many more memories that are shown in the book. In the movie, there's only two. It's Voldemort meeting Dumbledore for the first time, and then delving into Horcruxes. Oh, we'll delve into Horcruxes soon. Fucking Christ rolling. So basically, the first one we see is not even of Voldemort. It's of his mother, Merope Gaunt, his grandfather Marvolo Gaunt, and his uncle Morphin. And Morphin has been accused of injuring Tom Riddle Sr. with magic, and one of the ministry workers comes to basically detain him.
Is Morphin his first name?
Yes.
Is his last name Power Rangers?
I wish it was now. But...
That would be fucking hilarious.
Like, hello, Mr. Potter. This is Morphin Power Rangers.
Voldemort's uncle is one of the members of the Power Rangers. Anyways, but basically it is presented that Marvolo and Morphin are incredibly abusive to Merope to the point that her magic is suppressed and they think she's a squib.
Ugh, dirty squib. Ugh.
Yeah. No, they find out that she has a crush on Tom Riddle Sr. And Marvolo actually nearly strangles his daughter to death because he's a fucking racist. Oh, it's also said that Morphin and Merope were brought about by incest. Yes. There's incest in this book now, like Michael raping his niece in Halloween 6.
What's happening?
I don't know.
So to clarify, this whimsical thing that started as a children's book has racism, slavery, ableism, child abuse, and incest. Date rape and incest.
And there's also an additional one that we'll go into later, and I will talk about this with the Horcruxes. So, anyways, yeah, because it's said that it was incest because Merope's eyes were like, she was like cross-eyed, basically. Her eyes were, yeah.
But everyone who's cross-eyed is an inbred. Like, what? Is that how that works?
Yeah. She's one of the fucking cannibals from Wrong Turn, apparently. What is this shit?
If you've got a friend out there who's got cross-eyed, their parents are siblings.
But there's another, that's when it's implied that Merope used a love potion on Tom Riddle Sr., got him to leave his current girlfriend for her, and apparently they fucked a couple times. Fucking wonderful.
Sorry. So the love potion not only got him to conceive a child against his will, got him to end his current relationship. She ruined the life of a man. I mean, wait, was he a good man or was he...
He was in the middle, I guess, but that doesn't excuse it. He wasn't a piece of shit human being. But even if he was,
it's like rape is fine provided that you're an asshole.
But so that's only implied that it happened. Then we see Voldemort meeting Dumbledore for the first time. There is a humongous difference with one line. In the movie, he says, I can make bad things happen to people who are mean to me, making us sympathize with him, apparently. But in the book, he says, I can make bad things happen to people who annoy me, making him even more fucking evil in the book. And I'm like, why would you make us sympathize with Voldemort? Why? Anyways.
Because Hollywood does that a lot.
Yeah, because
wait till you get to Fantastic Beasts.
Like fucking Steve Clovis. Steve Hermione Granger loving Clovis. We'll get to that later. Yes, I fucking hate Steve Clovis's writing in the series. Anyways, but what's next? I think we see Voldemort meeting Morphin Gaunt, and basically he can speak Parseltongue. We know that already, and it's implied that he stunned Morphin. He was underage, by the way, an underage wizard, and he still used magic anyway. Took Morphin's wand, went to his muggle father's home, killed him and his grandparents, and blamed it on Morphin and modified his memory to make it think that Morphin killed them. Morphin was sent to Azkaban for the rest of his life. Let's go ahead and delve into Horcruxes really quickly. So there is a video that I have seen from Movie Flame on YouTube about, it goes more in depth with Horcruxes. There was a book that J.K. Rowling was going to publish, an encyclopedia about the Wizarding World. She was going to delve more in depth into specifically how Horcruxes were made. And there was a specific detail in it that actually made her editor almost throw up. So she cut it out. And Movie Flame, his real name is Morgan, but he basically says that his theory about how Voldemort created the Horcruxes specifically, because it says in Deathly Hallows that there's a specific spell you have to cast, there's a specific thing you have to do. It even discussed it Hermione. He said it could have been necrophilia.
To create a Horcrux, you must cast the spell that Herpo the Foul created while splitting your soul. However, just casting the spell was not the only thing you had to do. On top of the spell, you must commit a horrific act. An act so unspeakable that it has never been revealed. J.K. Rowling originally planned to reveal exactly how it was done in her book, The Encyclopedia of the Potter World. However, after her editor read about this process and felt like vomiting, she decided not to release the book at all. One possibility that I haven't seen many people bring up, but is something that came to me while researching this video, is if you go through the list of who Voldemort killed to make a Horcrux, Myrtle, his father, a Muggle tramp, Hepzibah, an Albanian peasant, and Bertha Jorkins, they were all people that were in a position to potentially be penetrated in some way. This is truly a sickening thought, but is what I think the most likely horrific act you have to commit to create a Horcrux. And if there was anything to make Rowling's editor feel like she was going to vomit, it would be this. To be honest, just recording this, I feel a little sick myself.
You can't see, but Rob has just tossed his headset onto the floor and looks like he's about
He actually said that out loud, and I'm like, you can't be serious, Rowling.
Okay, he's getting up and leaving. I think we broke.
I shouldn't have brought that up. I'm so sorry. I had to. I hate this part. I'm like, why would Rowling think that's a good idea? She cut it out for a reason. Are you okay? Are you okay?
Sorry, I lost the will to live, and then Alice came in, so I was just talking to her.
Oh shit.
So
yes. It's not confirmed.
So this
but
is not.
It's a heavily said theory.
it's not canon.
So it's
not
not canon,
canon
but the
officially.
theory is that in order to make Horcruxes, Voldemort shags corpses.
Yes.
How did Voldemort create the Horcruxes?
It was just a theory that he made himself. I don't even know.
I love how we're all just putting everything on pause. Like, is this true? Oh dear.
I don't just He said that in the video, and I'm like, what?
Quote, in the Harry Potter lore, it's known that to make a Horcrux, you have to commit a horrific act and use a charm on the object. There's fan theory saying that it's kissing the dead body, cannibalism, auto-cannibalism, or sucking blood from victims.
Remember when this was just a fun story about wizards?
Well, by the way, I didn't even know that Alice walked in my office. So she walks in, pokes her head round the door just as I launch my headset off my head. She just checks on me, and I'm just like, I don't.
Oh, dear.
I am so sorry, Rob.
I wasn't prepared for that.
I wasn't prepared for it when I fucking heard it. I was like, what? What?
You know what? I wouldn't even put it past J.K. You got everything else.
Rowling would do something like that. Anyways, we're gonna get away from that disgusting fucking topic.
Yeah.
Then we see a memory where there's a character that's cut out of the movie entirely. Hepzibah Smith, who is
Did you just sneeze? What was that?
Hepzibah Smith.
Bless you.
Shut up. And basically, she's one of the direct descendants of Helga Hufflepuff, and she has the Hufflepuff cup and Slytherin's locket. And Voldemort basically charms his way into her life and finds out she has these things. 2 days later, he kills her and blames it on her house elf, who I think in the book her name is Hokey.
As in the hokey pokey.
Okay. Anyways.
Do they all turn around?
Yeah. Oh my God. And then we cut to several years later, and Voldemort meets Dumbledore in the headmaster's office, saying he wants a job at Hogwarts as the Defense Against the Dark Arts professor. Dumbledore says, "Fuck no." And so Voldemort places a curse on the defense against the dark arts post, so professors cannot teach for more than a year. So that's why it's explained in the books. And
once again, all cut from the movie. You wouldn't know any
Yes.
of this from the movie.
And also the scene where he finds out what Horcruxes are by Slughorn is also in there. So.
To be fair, I quite like that the movie doesn't explain it. So just every year, the defense against the dark arts teacher, just something goes wrong. I don't know. I will probably say, without having read a page of this book, that this is this is undeniably the worst adapted film.
It is
100%. 100%.
Yes.
I don't know about it. I think I probably like the movie slightly more than you guys, but it's absolutely the worst adaptation. With all the visions being cut of Voldemort's past, it's like, not only is it like, okay, you miss out on all this interesting stuff about what made Voldemort the way he is, but then it's also like, take that out. And there's just nothing left to the story. It's just like this like aimless, just wandering around like, oh no, they need a new player for the Quidditch team. Oh no. Hermione and Ron have a crush on each other, but they're too scared to admit it. Oh no, Ron's fallen in love with Lavender, but this makes Hermione like, who cares?
Yeah. Warner Brothers thought it was a good idea to go to David Yates and say, let's take the darkest book in the series and make it a romantic comedy.
I have a question. Who's Lavender?
Lavender.
She's an OnlyFans star, isn't she?
Yeah, we'll get into the casting of Lavender in a minute because that was something problematic. But anyways, Lavender.
Wasn't she a person of color in the book?
It's never specified. But in the first 3 movies, Lavender was casted as a black girl. But yeah, in the 6th movie, the fuck out of nowhere, when Lavender is more important to the plot, they cast a white girl to play Lavender. And I'm like, whoa, what? Anyway,
J.K. Rowling did the casting for that one.
Probably. But anyways, in the books and in the movies, for the first 5, Lavender is a fuck-all character. She barely fucking exists. She's in the background and is shown to be friends with Parvati Patil. And yet, out of nowhere, in book 6, she's more prominent, has a crush on Ron, and I'm like, who the fuck did this woman come from?
Yeah.
Where did she come from?
Because it's like she's in, at least, and then in the movies, it's like she's never been seen before, and then she's seen in like a blink and you'll miss it scene in the last movie where she's killed by the evil werewolf.
Does she die?
She does die. It's like a scene where he's like over her dead body, like eating her neck or something, and then Hermione stuns him away.
He kills her in the book too. He kills her in the book as well.
Oh, I see. Okay, fair enough.
I'm sure it was very sad.
I'm sure.
No. I didn't give a single fuck when Lavender was killed.
But
I was like, yeah, she was a character, I guess.
Yeah. But just going back to the start of the book, the first chapter starts so in the movie it starts, you see like the Death Eaters destroying the Millennium Bridge, and then they kidnap Ollivander, and that's like, okay, that's a cool way to start the movie. In the book, the first chapter is called The Other Minister, and it's from the point of view of the Muggle Prime Minister. So it's
sounds really interesting. I want to learn about the Muggle Prime Minister more than the Magic School.
But
Tell me more.
So essentially what happens is that this Prime Minister is going about his day, and then this portrait starts talking to him, and he's like, oh, fuck's sake, not again. And it's revealed that the Wizarding world, whatever...
enough of that. What policies did this Prime Minister implement?
I don't know. But essentially, in the Wizarding world, when a new Muggle Prime Minister gets elected, the Wizarding world reveals itself to the Prime Minister, be like, yo, wizards are real. Just so you know, we're only going to keep you informed every so often in case something bad comes up. And then the rest of the time, you see... Sorry, Rob's just staring at me like I've told him aliens are real.
What's going on? So imagine you're Tony Blair, and you're like, I'm going to run for office. And they're like, right, Tony, you've just won. You're the Prime Minister. Like, he sits down at his desk, ready to start his first day. And then fucking Mona Lisa says, you're right, mate. And you're like, what the hell? And yeah, magic's real, dude. Just thought I'd let you know. No one's going to believe you. Bye. What?
Yeah. And it's essentially revealed that every Prime Minister in history chose to keep this to himself or herself. Rather than say it and have people think that they're crazy.
Margaret Thatcher definitely would have snitched. She would have been the one.
Yeah. And then Cornelius...
Could you imagine like fucking Rishi Sunak having with them talking to the Muggle Prime. Sorry, the Wizard of what's it called? The
Boris
Minister for Magic.
Johnson wouldn't have even batted an eye.
He's just
Magic,
like, oh, okay.
magic's real. Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes,
but
yes.
anyway,
that doesn't make sense.
Anyways, Cornelius Fudge pops in every now and then to give this guy updates, and then this is I think this is like right at the end of Order of the Phoenix almost. He finally comes in and is like, yeah, our world's gone to shit. Sirius Black is dead. It was revealed he was innocent. Yeah, they sacked me, by the way. I'm no longer minister. So we have a new minister, Rufus Scrimgeour. And this is when Rufus Scrimgeour is introduced.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I love it when Americans use British words. Oh, they sacked him. It sounds good.
Thank you.
But and so we also meet the new minister, Scrimgeour, played by Philip from Shaun of the Dead. Because this is where we meet him in the books. We don't meet him until Deathly Hallows in the movies, and he's not really much of a character at all.
Yeah, he's barely there. And I'm like, bro, what?
Yeah. But then throughout the book, he meets up with Harry and he tries to use Harry basically to be the ministry's poster boy and be like, look, can you just tell everyone that everything's fine and that we're doing a good job?
Yeah.
And Harry
says, fuck you, bitches.
you. Like, you guys made my life hell last year. I'm not doing what you say.
And then the next chapter is basically the Unbreakable Vow scene.
Is with now there's some interesting things here. So in the movie, they never specify why Voldemort chose Draco as his to kill.
Because Draco is amazing.
So, like, in the book, it's made very clear that Voldemort knows there's no chance in hell that Draco can kill Dumbledore, and he's doing this effectively as a final fuck you to the Malfoys for like, you have been the bane of my existence for the last 5 years. I've trusted you with all my plans, and you've done fuck all.
This is basically the Malfoys' punishment for Lucius failing to get the prophecy in the last book.
Yeah. Which the movies don't really make it clear, which makes you wonder, like, did Voldemort genuinely think Draco had a shot at killing Dumbledore?
Yes, because he's a great wizard.
It's like none of my best Death Eaters can do it, but this random 17-year-old, yeah, sure, he'll have a plan. He'll put something together.
Don't underestimate his power.
Don't try it.
Also in this scene, it's between Bellatrix and Narcissa. And I think we have met Narcissa briefly in the books at this point. We haven't
the
met
very
her.
subtle name of Narcissa.
Yeah,
not letting it go.
Naming
Yeah, she was introduced in book 4.
Yeah. The original name for Lucius was Egotron. Fucking Narcissa.
Egotron Malfoy. There you go.
Egotron. And then their uncle, Aragusus.
But
Damn it.
yeah. So in the book, it's actually Narcissa who asks Snape to make the vow. And it's shown that it's like she's desperate to just keep her son safe.
Yeah.
In the movie they make it Bellatrix.
She's more emotional in the book, whereas in the movie, she's just calm as can be. And I'm like, bro, your son's life is on the line. You need to be more emotional and more desperate. That's your son.
Yeah. And also Bellatrix brings up a good point, because I think a recurring discussion point at this point in the books was like, why doesn't Snape try to kill Harry if he's on Voldemort's side? And Bellatrix asked him that question, and he essentially says, like, you know, Voldemort has asked me all of those questions. Do you think I would be stood here talking to you if I hadn't been able to give him a good answer? Which shuts her up.
Yeah.
But don't they say that Voldemort has to kill Harry? So that's why Snape doesn't.
They do, but that's a good point, actually. I'm trying to
Yeah, that's so. Next chapter, called Will and Won't. Dumbledore basically calls out the Dursleys for being abusive to Harry.
Yeah, this was really satisfying, because it was like, well, it was satisfying because it was nice to finally see someone call the Dursleys what they are. But it's also like,
Fat.
Yeah, shut up.
Well, fat and bony. One's bony. Let's not forget the bony one.
Yeah, but like while he's calling them out, he's like gotten like drinks for them, but he's enchanted the glasses, so they're basically beating them over the fucking head.
Oh, okay. I mean, with this wizarding world, you got to watch what people put in people's drinks. I'm just saying, Jesus.
Yeah, but there's also quite I think slightly disturbing, and I don't think this was intentional. So because after Sirius's death, he's left Harry everything that he owns. And everything that he owns includes Creature. So Creature turns up at the house. The Dursleys are like, because obviously there's a fucking house elf has just teleported into their living room. And Creature's like, no, I don't want to go to Harry Potter. Harry tells Creature to shut up. And Creature like physically loses the ability to talk. Where it's like he's clearly trying to talk, but his lips are like sealed shut because there's the magic on house elves that they have to obey orders from their masters. Which is just like there's some very
that is disturbing. I forgot about that. God damn.
But yeah. And then the next chapter is where we meet Monsieur Slughorn.
Yeah, and Horace is and Slughorn is fat in the book.
Yeah, once again, they
fucking fat phobia, and it's to one of the better characters in the series. Come on, Rowling. Are you serious?
I will say Slughorn is considerably more likable in the movies than he is in the books.
He is. I agree with that.
You know why that is? It's because they just got Jim Broadbent. Who
yeah,
you can't
exactly.
Hate.
Yeah, you can't hate Jim
Broadbent. You can't hate that man.
Yeah, he's the dad from Bridget Jones. You can't hate him.
Ah, he's also the dad in The Borrowers. He's in everything. He's in Moulin Rouge. He just pops up in films randomly.
He's in Moulin Rouge. He's in The Crying Game. He's in Gangs of New York. He's in Paddington, for fuck's sake.
The reason that Dumbledore knew that Slughorn wasn't in any true danger was not because of dragon's blood like in the movie, but because he did not put the dark mark over his home. Because the dark mark basically signifies that a death has occurred in this place. And because he hasn't done that, there was no death. So Slughorn wasn't really dead.
It's also like, I can't remember if the movies mentioned this. Because in the book, they mentioned that Slughorn was the head of Slytherin. Which I don't think they ever say in the movies.
They might have. I want to say they did, but I can't remember.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't mention it. They cut everything else out of the goddamn movie.
But like, Slughorn is like, he's the example of like, okay, not all Slytherins are evil pricks. Like most of them are.
Yeah, but even then, Harry still dislikes him at first.
Yeah, because he's very clearly like vain and he likes using people's connections and things like that. He likes sort of cherry picking the people he thinks are going to be really famous so then they'll owe him favors. But having said that, I think he's still a good character. I like the character a lot.
Next chapter, the return of Fleur Delacour.
This is again
Rowling once again phonetically writing out the accent. Now, the phonetic writing of her accent is not as egregious in this book as it is in book 4, but it's still there. It was no trouble. I've been longing to see him. What the fuck, Rowling? Are you kidding me? She does not learn her lesson. Hermione, Ginny, and Mrs. Weasley all hate Fleur. She's engaged to Bill Weasley.
Who's Bill Weasley?
Oh yeah, that old chestnut.
We haven't met him yet in the movies, so
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forget. But yeah, she's engaged to Bill and has been for a while. Oh yeah, I forgot. In the 5th book, it was implied that he and Fleur were working in Gringotts together, and he was giving her a lot of private lessons.
There's a lot of sex in this franchise for kids.
Yeah, which is fucking wild, I swear to God. But yeah. And basically, and like in the next couple, basically this is where they find out about their OWL scores, I guess. And then they go to Diagon Alley. And then
Diagon Alley.
Right, Diagon Alley. Right. And this part always made me fucking laugh my ass off. It's when they're about to reach Fred and George's jokes shop. And let me read this. This is on page 116. The right-hand window was covered with a gigantic poster, purple like those of the ministry, but emblazoned with flashing yellow letters. Rob, you're going to think this is funny, even though you're a grown-ass man. Why are you worrying about you-know-who? You should be worrying about U-No-Poo, the constipation sensation that's gripping the nation.
The constipation sensation.
Oh dear.
Yeah, we're grown ass people and we're laughing about poo and constipation. I had to point this out because I knew it was gonna make Rob laugh because he always jokes about poo.
I'm changing Adelynn's name in our group chat to
No.
U-No-Poo.
No.
And Dave is the constipation sensation.
Oh my god.
Which group chat? Which group chat?
The main one, not even the Harry Potter one.
No. Oh no.
I mean, the context of that is that Fred and George put out an ad for like a sweet that essentially makes you relieve your bowels. And Mrs. Weasley reads this and is like, they'll be murdered in their beds because they're making fun of Voldemort. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I think Voldemort would have a sense of humor about it. I think he'd be like, do you know what? Fair play. That was funny.
In this chapter, we also get one of the biggest scenes with Draco where he
You
calls
have my interest.
shut up. He calls Hermione a mudblood. And Harry and Ron shut up. Harry and Ron go to defend her, and then Narcissus shows up and basically threatens Harry's life. It basically says Dumbledore won't be around to keep you safe for much longer, basically foreshadowing his death.
Hey, don't you want that to be Hermione's new mother-in-law? I don't see the problem.
Rob, stop trying to make Dramione happen. It's not going to happen.
It could.
If you've seen Mean Girls, you will get the reference.
So I don't know if I've directly said it in the previous episodes talking about, but I do ship Draco and Hermione. Again, I wouldn't have
Because you're a psychopath.
Draco be as horrifically evil, but I'd have him like he's clearly being manipulated by his father and having his evil teachings passed on to him. So naturally, he sees Hermione, kind of likes her, but doesn't want to admit it, you see. So he teases her. Yeah, it's a bit of a dick to her. And I know I'd tone it down. I wouldn't have him be like making her every minute of her life hell. But then during his redemption arc, I would have hooked them up too, because personally, even though the movies covered Ron and Hermione's relationship really well, don't know how it handled in the book, but the movies did it really well. I think Draco and Hermione would have been far more interesting. But then again, I have a history of liking toxic relationships and a redemption arc of a guy getting the bad boy getting the girl in the end.
Yeah, because you're fucking psycho. Anyways, so
But
next-
they would just be so cute together.
no. Anyways,
Are you a 12-year-old
next
girl?
No one asked you, you filthy little mudblood.
That's me with Harry and Ginny. Speaking of, next chapter. They go on the Hogwarts Express. This is the very first indication that Harry likes Ginny, and it's great. So,
No,
page-
is it that scene? I thought it was when he shows up at the Burrow.
No.
Oh, no.
that was
No.
in the movie.
That's in the movie, yeah.
Yeah, even though in the movie they had Harry fucking flirting with a waitress, and then 2 hours later, oh yeah, Ginny. I like Ginny now.
Yeah.
Fucking know it.
Can we talk about
Brother.
how little chemistry they had in the movie?
Oh my god. I don't even blame Daniel Radcliffe and Bonnie Wright for this. I blame
I think-
Clovis.
It's a shame because I've seen like Bonnie Wright embraces this character. People have seen her out in public, and she's so happy to be part of the Harry Potter universe. But the movies really did her dirty because
She's actually come out recently and did say that the movies did do her dirty.
there's a scene. I mean, we're skipping ahead here, but there's a scene in the last one where Harry and everyone escapes all the Dementors and Death Eaters, and they return, and Ginny runs out, and it's just like, "Hi, I'm a person." It's like there's no emotion.
Yeah.
She's great, like as an actor. She's great, but there's just nothing in writing that develops their relationship.
Oh yeah. So basically, chapter 7, page 136. So basically, they're on the Hogwarts Express. He tapped Ginny on the shoulder. Fancy trying to find a compartment. I can, Harry. I said I'd meet Dean, said Ginny brightly. Yeah, she's dating Dean Thomas. Just like
Dean Thomas. Me and Dean Thomas go way back. I know Dean
Oh
Thomas.
my
He's my favorite character in the Harry Potter universe.
Okay. I can't, Harry. I said I'd meet Dean, said Ginny brightly. See you later. Right, said Harry. He felt a strange twinge of annoyance as she walked away, her long red hair dancing behind her. He had become so used to her presence over the summer that he had almost forgotten that Ginny did not hang around with him, Ron, and Hermione while at school. Then he blinked and looked around. He was surrounded by mesmerized girls, and yet he's only focused on Ginny.
Seeing as we're talking about Ginny, should we talk about Harry's monster within him?
Yes!
So,
No. It's a good thing. I swear, it's good.
It's
I mean, with this franchise with necrophilia, I don't really.
Okay. Let's not
Okay.
I
bring
think
that up.
I
again,
like
So-
this
please.
monster inside him.
So Harry,
Please.
throughout the book, repeatedly described his feelings towards Ginny and his jealousy towards her being with other people as like a monster inside of him. So like just to read out one chapter.
This sounds very creepy. How are you going to justify
It's
this?
not. It's actually not creepy.
Okay,
It sounds like it will be, but it's actually not.
So to read from the book, Dean was looking embarrassed. He gave Harry a shifty grin that Harry did not return, as the newborn monster inside him was roaring for Dean's instant dismissal from the team.
Yeah.
Then just again, he doesn't mean anything, Ginny, said Harry automatically, though the monster was roaring its approval of Ron's words.
What is going on? This sounds like 50 Shades, my inner goddess.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not a bad comparison, actually. Okay. Oh, here's a great one. Sorry, can I say this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. But unbidden into his mind came an image of that same deserted corridor with himself kissing Ginny instead. The monster in his chest purred.
Why is this a good thing? His boner has a conscience.
I always interpreted it as like his heart is like growing.
Oh no, it's his hard on, not his heart.
Shut up!
His dick is talking.
Damn it! No, you're ruining this for me. You're ruining this for me. You
This is definitely his orgasm speaking.
Oh my god! You've ruined this for me.
Yeah.
I hope you know that. You've ruined Harry and Ginny for me. I'll never fucking forgive you for this.
Just Harry's monster within him, just like, Harry, Ginny's looking hot today. You should run after her like they do on the Discovery Channel.
Shut up!
Oh, Adalynn read this so innocently. He's like, wow, Harry's really protective. We're like, no, Adalynn, from a guy that's he wants to fuck her.
No!
I'm sorry to tell you how boys think, but it's best you know.
Damn it!
Anyway.
No, because they actually have genuinely good moments in the books together.
I know. I just think the metaphor was ill-conceived.
Yeah. Fuck! Damn it! Damn it.
So moving away from Harry's monster within him, inner goddess, whatever we want to call it at this point.
It's monstrous Winky.
Exactly. Just to loop back around to how sort of poorly this adapts the books, is that there's a lot of things that are just like they're true to what happens in the book, but because the preceding films cut out the setup, it doesn't make sense for it to be included. Like, for instance, Harry is just suddenly the Quidditch captain, which is just like they cut out the fact that he becomes the Quidditch captain.
Yeah.
There's a scene where
doesn't Ron, sorry to cut you off, but doesn't Ron randomly join the Quidditch team? And I swear there's no moment in the movies where...
Yeah, because that links back to, we forgot to mention this in Order of the Phoenix, was Ron's sort of arc in that book was about him. Basically, Harry and the twins get kicked off the Quidditch team by Umbridge. So
because they're beating the shit out of Malfoy.
Yeah. So they have to find replacement.
What? Yes, let me out! Let me
actually do. Fred, I think it's Fred... No, it's George and Harry. They beat the shit out of Malfoy because he insulted their mothers. And then, and Ron's arc with the whole Weasley as our king thing.
Yeah, and he joins the Quidditch team, essentially, and that sort of builds his confidence. So everything that happens in this film with Ron, once again becoming the keeper and learning to play really well, was supposed to be a carryover from that. But again, because Order of the Phoenix cut out the setup, they just included the payoff, even though it doesn't really make any sense to include it. Yeah. There's also a scene where McGonagall goes up to Harry and she's like, I thought you were supposed to go to potions, or do you no longer want to be an aura? And if you've just watched the films, like, when did Harry ever want to be an aura?
And then Order of the Phoenix explained it in the books.
Yeah, Order of the Phoenix, there was a whole thing about, actually, Harry thinks he wants to be an aura.
Yeah, and it has one of McGonagall's best moments. Can I give you a cough drop, Dolores? She just keeps going, there's another we should have mentioned this in Order of the Phoenix, but there's a moment where after Umbridge gives Harry detention, he goes to McGonagall and she's like, she gave you detention? Yes. She told you told her he who must not be named is back? Yes. Have a biscuit, Potter.
Yeah, you could just hear Maggie Smith delivering that line.
Yes. I fucking miss that woman. She was an angel.
But it also pertains to, like, a lot of the Horcrux stuff, this whole thing about cutting out setup, because like a lot of the visions were supposed to show like what the Horcruxes were. So like, okay, one of them's a cup, one of them's a locket, one of them's what's it called, like a diadem. But in the movies, because they didn't show most of the flashbacks, Harry just kind of knows what all the Horcruxes look like, and there's no reason for him to know what they look like. So it's like, what? When did we discover this?
The thing with Katie Bell getting cursed by the necklace is more prominent in the book.
Yeah. In the movie, it's like it happens, and then they just kind of move on, like, oh yeah, never mind.
Yeah. And Harry has one of the dumbest lines in the fucking movies where he blames Malfoy pretty much, and Snape's like, "How do you know this?" And he's like, "I just know."
Which is like,
and he's never been wrong before when he had a hunch about Snape or Malfoy.
Yeah, and it's
Harry's
like,
always right.
It's like, Harry, you saw Draco enter the evil shop. Tell them that you saw him in the evil shop.
Yeah.
You have enough evidence to throw this kid in Azkaban.
Exactly. That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
I don't.
Because in the book, it's like he never got any tangible proof that Draco was up to no good. That was why nobody believed him. It's like in the movie, him, Hermione, and Ron all see Draco go into Borgin and Burke's with Death Eaters.
Yeah, even though and in the book he was alone, but still, they literally saw him go into Borgin and Burke's, and they don't bring this up in the movie. Like, come on.
Yeah, which is sort of like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, okay. So Ron and Hermione's animosity towards one another. The reason they actually stopped talking in the book, because Ginny reveals that during the Yule Ball, Hermione and Victor made out. And Ron got really fucking jealous and pissed off and stopped talking to Hermione for
Was his inner monster roaring?
No, it doesn't say it like that ever.
His inner monster was very happy in the last one. No particular reason.
We've just forever ruined this thing for Adalynn.
I'm gonna kill you! And basically, Ron gets back at Hermione by kissing Lavender. So
yeah, that's because in the book, not in the book, in the movie, they kiss, and it's like, when did you two ever have any interest in each other?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I hate how so much of the fucking movie we had to stop learning about the origins of Voldemort, the big bad of this franchise. Like, oh yeah, let's focus on the love lives of all the teenagers. Fucking what? Like, can you imagine if they made Lord of the Rings and they, instead of exploring the origins of Sauron, they were like, but what does Legolas's girlfriend do? It's like, what? How does Gimli treat his wife? Like,
so skipping ahead, go to Christmas, and it's implied then that Ron does not enjoy his time with Lavender whatsoever. He gets a Christmas present from her, a humongous fucking chain necklace with the words "My Sweetheart" on it. And he's just like, what the fuck is this? And Harry, Fred, and George make fun of him for it. As you do. And the romance with Nymphadora and Remus is implied in this chapter.
Yeah, which again,
because
the movie
Nymfadora's she's depressed for the entire book, and they ask Remus why, and he doesn't answer. He knows damn well why, especially when they tell him that her Patronus has changed.
Yeah, I mean, because then at the end they do get together. In the movie, they're just kind of together in one scene.
Yes,
that's the only. That's the only implication you get that they're together.
Yeah, and Tonks and Lupin are one of the best couples in the entire series.
Yeah, which again, Rob's face
until Deathly Hallows. They almost ruined it in Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, I mean, Rob's face has gone blank because he heard the name Tonks and it's like, who the fuck are you on about? Because I remember while he was watching the movie, I was just getting messages from like, who's this brown-haired woman?
Yeah. This chapter reminds us that Percy is a character.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He shows up during Christmas, and basically, it's literally implied that he's just really uncomfortable being there because even though Voldemort's been outed as being back, Percy still doesn't want to make amends with his family because he's a right asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
And Rufus Scrimgeour is also with him, and that's when he basically tries to get Harry to join the Ministry, and he basically says, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, moving on to that, we have the scene at the Burrow where Bellatrix attacks the Burrow, which isn't
Did
in the
not
book.
fucking happen in the book at all.
And it doesn't make any sense because it's like, one, why is nobody protecting the Burrow? Like at this point, the Ministry know that Harry is the chosen one, so there should be 24 protection around him, 24/7 protection around him, rather. And then also, like, we even learn at the end of the story that Voldemort is saving Harry for himself. So why would Voldemort send Bellatrix to the Burrow to be like, yeah, let's wreck some shit? It was almost like, well, the audience is bored senseless at this point. What could I do? Just throw an action scene in the middle. Hopefully they'll be excited.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Skipping ahead, they actually introduced this in the book, apparating. They take apparating tests basically because they're of age, or they do lessons. So that happens. This is also the same chapter where Ron gets the chocolates with the love potion from Romilda.
Yeah.
It's from Romilda Vane. She's a character apparently, a woman who's in love with Harry because he's the chosen one.
Yeah.
And her name is Vane. So she's like really, really shallow, and her name is Vane.
Yes, Robert.
Her name is Vane, and she's really vain.
Yeah,
you
lovely.
could say that, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
she's got a sister. She's called Jessica Superficialus.
Oh my god. Then Ron gets poisoned. They don't ruin the scene with comedy like they do in the fucking movie. They actually leave you in suspense, like, is Ron gonna fucking live? Which of course he is. It's Ron Weasley. But in the movie, he's like, these girls, they're gonna kill me. And I'm like, bro, you just ruined the whole goddamn scene, you bitch.
Yeah. And they also cut out, because in the book, Harry learns about a bazaar from Slughorn, and that's what gives him the inspiration to shove the thing down Ron's throat to save his life. Yeah. But in the movie, they didn't include that. So it's like, is Harry just like a poison expert now? He knows how to save people from poisons? Like, what?
Yeah. I forgot to mention, this all happens on Ron's birthday.
That's a shitty birthday.
Yeah, that was the worst birthday of your fucking life. You almost die. Fucking
This is, sorry, just very quickly, this is also the bit where they introduce, not in this bit specifically, but in the book, they introduce the concept of non-verbal magic.
Yes! Oh, yeah! And Harry's best sassy moment in the whole book's where he says, there's no need to call me Sir, Professor.
I love that.
There's so many inconsistencies in the movies and they never explain it. So sometimes they can use a spell by saying a word. Other times they don't need a word. Sometimes they don't need a wand. Sometimes they do need a wand. Sometimes they can use their own wand. Sometimes they can use any person's wand. It doesn't even matter.
The wand chooses the wizard, my ass.
Yeah, what a load of bollocks.
What a load of bollocks. Exactly.
Yeah, but it's in this book where it's introduced, because Snape takes over as Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, and he teaches them about non-verbal magic, which already opens up a lot of... I mean, I can't remember if it opens up any in the books, because I can't recall any moment where the kids use magic without saying a word. In the movies, there are at least...
There's loads.
There's at least 3 or 4 where they, before this book, they use non-verbal magic and it's never explained.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, no, but yeah, this is the book where we get Harry telling Snape, "There's no need to call me Sir, Professor," which is the best Harry line in all the books. But what else is there? Oh yeah, there's the fucking there's a scene. It's a Quidditch scene where Cormac McLaggen, he's a character. Basically,
It sounds like you just gargled a load of water. I can't do gargling.
Yeah,
That's not a name. That's not a name.
He takes over as keeper, takes Ron's place, and he's like really fucking arrogant and is literally trying to tell everybody else on the team like how to do their freaking jobs. And Harry's like, "Bitch, shut the fuck up and do your own fucking job." Cormac gets a freaking bludger, swings it at Harry, and cracks his skull and knocks him the fuck out. And then Ginny visits him in the hospital wing. It's implied that she did anyway.
And again, in the movie, he's reduced down to the arsehole who tries to date Hermione and then throws up on Snape's shoes. And that's all.
Whereas in the book, he didn't like Hermione at all. He just said yes to going to the freaking Christmas party just because he had no one else to go with. So he's like, yeah, sure, I'll go with you, I guess. And yet he wouldn't leave her the fuck alone the entire time. Let's see.
Have we got much else to talk about, or can we skip to the cave?
Well, obviously there's the whole scene after the Sectum Sempra scene where Snape confronts Harry about it, and he's like, where did you learn that spell from? I want you to bring me all your books and all that. And Harry switches out his copy of Advanced Potion Making with Ron's, brings it to Snape. Snape doesn't believe him at all, gives him detentions every Saturday for the rest of the entire term. So that happens. And then, where is it? Where is it?
Is this Harry kissing Ginny?
Yes. It's my favorite moment in the whole fucking books.
And his inner monster grin.
Shut up. Page 533, at the very end of the chapter. This is after they won the Quidditch Cup. Harry looked around. There was Ginny running toward him. She had a hard, blazing look in her face as she threw her arms around him. And without thinking, without planning it, without worrying about the fact that 50 people were watching, Harry kissed her. After several long moments, or it might have been half an hour, possibly several sunlit days, they broke apart. The room had gone very quiet. Then several people wolf whistled, and there was an outbreak of nervous giggling. Harry looked over the top of Ginny's head to see Dean Thomas holding a shattered glass in his hand, and Romilda Vane looking as though she might throw something. Hermione was beaming, but Harry's eyes sought Ron. At last he found him, still clutching the cup and wearing an expression appropriate to having been clubbed over the head. For a fraction of a second they looked at each other. Then Ron gave a tiny jerk of the head that Harry understood to mean, well, if you must. It's so good. I love this scene so much.
Ron is surprisingly cool with his best friend dating his sister.
Because he trusts Harry. That's probably why.
You'd have some kind of reaction.
You'd be like, right, let's have a sit down.
He's basically like, well, I prefer you dating her to everyone else. Oh, well.
All I want is one, like even in the movies, Hermione's just like, Ron's all right with it, just don't snog in front of him.
Yeah.
That's it. And I'm like, you would have a conversation. You'd be like, right, Harry, don't be shagging her yet. Or there'd be some kind of
actually, that happens 2 pages later. And basically he says, watch it. He said, pointing warningly at Harry and Ginny. Just because I've given my permission doesn't mean I can't withdraw it. Your permission? Scoffed Ginny. Since when did you give me permission to do anything? Anyway, you said yourself you'd rather it was Harry than Michael or Dean. Yeah, I would, said Ron grudgingly. And just as long as you don't start snogging each other in public. And she calls him a filthy hypocrite because he did it with Lavender. So yeah. Now, I guess we can... Well, right before the cave, it's revealed that Snape is basically the one who told Voldemort about the prophecy and basically added out
Professor Trelawney. Yes, because it's revealed that Professor Trelawney made the prophecy that said, neither can live while the other survives, yada yada yada, which I think is in the movie because I think the actress is the one who.
Yeah, they just don't say it was Trelawney.
Yeah. And then Harry also finds out that Snape was the one who snitched to Voldemort about the prophecy, which then led to Voldemort killing Lily and James, which then led to everything that's happened in the series thus far.
Yeah,
Harry gets really pissed.
Yeah, rightfully pissed off.
Yeah. But it's a brief little scene, and there's also like a bit where Dumbledore's like, don't be too hard on Professor Snape. He's changed sides and all.
He's changed sides, my ass!
Yeah, that was a terrible Dumbledore impression, I'm sorry. But right, now we can talk about the cave, and we can talk about Dumbledore's death.
Basically, the entire rest of the book is perfection.
Yeah. So the cave scene is more or less the same as it is in the movie.
Yeah, it's just a little more dragged out.
Yeah, there's a couple of more details. But I have to say, you shit on Michael Gambon as Dumbledore, and I've let it slide up until now. But that scene in the cave where he's crying his eyes out and begging,
fucking phenomenal,
is
so good.
The best acting and it's like, and I'm sorry, God bless Richard Harris and rest in peace. I cannot imagine Richard Harris giving that performance.
Richard Harris, I don't think would have been able to do that. Like this film is Michael Gambon's best performance of the entire series as Dumbledore.
So you're saying one good scene negates 3 films of a shit performance?
Well, it wasn't a shit performance. That's just your.
I said the whole movie.
He just puts on a robe and he's like, "Hello, I'm Dumbledore. I am."
Shut up! In the entire movie, he's really fucking great.
No, I'll give you that scene, but in every other movie, other than the duel scene at the end of 5, Gambon is fucking terrible.
No,
he's awful.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
Cut this out.
I'll give it to you in his death scene. I think he should have shown a bit more vulnerability, but.
That's true. But other than that, he's fucking great.
I think he's great. There is a couple of details that are missing in the cave scene because he says something to the effect of like, forgive me. And Harry doesn't know what he's talking about. But then later in Deathly Hallows, we learn the context of that. But
yeah, this is the scene where you truly see how really powerful Dumbledore is. And this man is fucking dying from the curse from the ring and from the potion that Harry forced him to drink. And yet he still has probably the most power he's ever shown, which is crazy. Yeah. And at the end of the chapter is one of the most emotional bits. It's going to be all right, sir, Harry said over and over again, more worried by Dumbledore's silence than he had been by his weakened voice. We're nearly there. I can operate us both back. Don't worry. I am not worried, Harry, said Dumbledore, his voice a little stronger despite the freezing water. I am with you.
So, with Dumbledore's death, how does Snape differ from the movie? He freezes them, doesn't he? He freezes them in place.
There's a little bit of setup before then. So
Dumbledore basically puts an immobilizing curse on Harry.
Yeah, so basically when they get back from the cave, they actually don't... So in the movie, this causes a plot hole because they apparate inside Hogwarts. And in the movie...
Can't do that!
Yeah, I mean, in the movie, Dumbledore's like, yes, well, being me has its benefits. Which in my head, I'm like, but if Dumbledore can apparate anywhere in the castle, surely he would just apparate like in his office.
Couldn't he have apparated in the Chamber of Secrets before if he can apparate anywhere?
Yeah. And basically,
when they were looking for it.
And basically that line translated to, I can do whatever the fuck I want, Harry.
A good question for another time.
Yeah. Sir, how can you... Sir, we can't apparate inside of Hogwarts. No time for that now, Harry. We need to go. Otherwise the audience will realise it's a plot hole. But anyway, they apparate outside the castle and they see the dark mark cast over the astronomy tower. They're like, fuck, what's happened? They go up to the astronomy tower, like, hang on, there's nobody here. What's going on? And then Dumbledore says to Harry, go and get help. Does he say go and get Professor Snape? I can't remember.
Yes.
He says go and get Professor Snape.
Go and get Severus. Go and get Severus. Yeah. I need Severus here.
So Harry puts on the invisibility cloak, turns around to leave, and not Voldemort, Dumbledore freezes him. So at that point, Harry is frozen. He can't do anything. Then Draco comes up. It's the same spiel as before. Bellatrix isn't there in the book, incidentally.
Yes, that's true.
It's a bunch of random Death Eaters.
I actually preferred her being there in the movie.
Yeah, I think that was a good addition. But yeah, they have Draco seems a lot more desperate in the scene, where he's not just saying, like, he's going to kill me. In the book, he's like, he'll kill me and my whole family. So it's like, it's not just his own life that he's worried about, it's his family's. Mm-hmm. And then obviously Snape shows up, he does the Avada Kedavra, Dumbledore dies, and then as soon as Dumbledore dies, Harry's unfrozen. And this leads to a scene that was also kind of in the movie, but they toned it down a bit where...
Before you get into that, also note, Harry was under the invisibility cloak.
Oh yeah, I should have specified. Now, my problem with this in the movie is that Dumbledore says, Harry, don't intervene. And Harry just doesn't intervene. It's like, this is the same kid who constantly throws himself into danger, who constantly would do anything to save his friends. And Harry's like, Harry, stay put. Okay. What you save him?
I mean, yeah, but like, we've disagreed with this privately because I think... I was going to say he's not going to try and take on Snape, but he does straight after. But there's multiple people in the room. Harry's not going to just, oh yeah, I can take on Snape and Bellatrix and all these people single-handedly.
Yeah, but it's more the fact that he didn't even try in the moment. It's like he just like Dumbledore dies. Which it's also like there's only one way up the astronomy tower. So did Harry just let all the Death Eaters walk past him It's like, oh yeah, you can all leave. Right now I'll chase after them. It's just
Yeah.
I don't know. It was
They basically cut out the entirety of the Battle of the Astronomy Tower.
yeah, which was sort of a short battle, which they kind of had in the movie, but they toned it down quite a bit.
It's toned down so fucking much. And then that's revealed that Snape's Half-Blood Prince. And when Harry calls Snape a coward twice in the book, and he says, "Kill me then. Kill me like you killed him, you coward. Don't call me coward." He literally bellows in Harry's face, "Don't call me a coward."
Snape said calmly.
Oh, shut the
Yeah.
fuck up.
Which is also like, it also says like in the book, it's like it's very obviously telegraphed that something isn't quite right. That like, this isn't just Snape being evil. Which I don't know if that came across the same way in the movie. I guess it did because you got Snape going like shh before he goes to kill
So
Harry.
surely, like, I mean, I question why I didn't see the twist coming, because in part 6, Harry literally gets told by Snape to be quiet, and then Snape doesn't kill him. So surely that gives away the twist that it's a double cross.
That probably should.
This is also the chapter where we find out that the locket is a fake Horcrux.
Yeah.
And unlike where in the movie, it's at the very fucking end of the movie.
Yeah. Because the last scene of the book is Dumbledore's funeral. And this is another scene that I wish they'd included in the movie.
Yeah,
which actually, I think they filmed it for the movie, but then didn't include it.
Yeah, but before that is the hospital wing scene, where it's revealed that Bill was attacked by Fenrir Greyback and was mauled by him to the point his face is unrecognizable. And basically, he looks like Jason Voorhees. He basically looks like Jason Voorhees.
Yeah. And then in the 7th movie, he just turns up. He's like, "Oh yeah, I got some scratches from a werewolf called Greyback."
Oh, yeah, he's like, we don't see him for 6 straight movies, and then he shows up in Deathly Hallows Part 1. You're right.
Like they packaged all of his story just into that one scene, essentially.
I'm like, bro, what? Yeah, and then it's revealed that Fleur's attraction to Bill is emotional, not just physical attraction, and she's finally approved as his future wife by Mrs. Weasley. Yeah. And then Tonks and Lupin get together. It's a really good scene. I really love it. They're 2 of my favorite couples of the series.
Yeah. Then after that, we get Dumbledore's funeral, which was filmed for the movie, but then they cut it out, which is annoying because it is a good scene. And it's at this point where they decide, okay, we're going to find these Horcruxes and we're not coming back to Hogwarts next year.
And Harry breaks up with Ginny.
Why? Because she's ginger.
Shut up, because basically it's Peter Parker and Mary Jane. He's breaking up with her because he wants to keep her safe.
Who also had red hair, I'm just saying.
Red hair and a hand-me-down robe. You must be a Weasley.
You must be a
You must be Mary Jane.
But I think that pretty much sums up Half-Blood Prince. So do we want to do closing thoughts?
My
favorite
favorite
film.
My favorite book of the entire series.
Yeah, I think it's the best one. It's like, it's long, but it felt like there was never a point. Like in the previous 2, there were multiple scenes of like, okay, you could have cut this out. You could have condensed these 2 together. I didn't really, maybe a couple of chapters at the start, I think maybe.
There were a few maybe minor details that I don't think should have been included, like the incest and the date.
Or the love potion, again, that
should have been taken out. But other than that, this is a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
The movie was a 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
I gave the movie 3.5 out of 5, but it's my least favorite movie of the series because it pissed me off. If you go on my Letterboxd, you just look up Adelyn's Horror World Letterboxd. I literally wrote a whole fucking essay about how the movie is different from the book and how I hate it.
Did you just plug your letterbox on my channel?
Yes.
Promo link in the description.
That's outrageous. Go and check out my letterbox. I've done about 1 review on it.
Yeah, and you haven't done one since.
But anyway.
Anyway, join us next time for the final book. Dum dum dum.